we're going to be looking at problem number 1, which is called 3 in, 3 out. So the problem basically asks us to type in our name, our age, and our favourite TV show, and then it's going to display it back to us. So there's no processing happening in this program, it's just input and then output. So we're going to start with doing our inputs. Oops. So I'm going to put a comment, just writing inputs, and we want the person to type in their name. If somebody's typing some data in, we would want to use a variable, and a variable is just a location in memory that we can give a label. In this case, if they're typing in their name, I'm going to call the variable name. So we can say name equals, and then the command to type something in is input, and we've got a pair of brackets. Now inside the input command, we can give a message prompting the user what they should type in. In this case, we want to just say, please enter your name. Now that line of code's fine. If I run it, we'll see it happen on the right here, and it's saying please enter your name, and I could type in John. Now notice when I type in the name, there's no space between the actual name and my prompt. I can press enter and the program will end, but it doesn't look very nice. So what I'm going to do is at the end of my prompt, I'm going to put a wee colon and then a space. And all that does is it formats a wee bit so it looks nicer. So now it says this, please enter your name. It's got a colon, a space, and now I can type in my data to be stored in my variable. So John. So once we've got a name typed in, we want them to type in their age and their favourite TV show. So age is similar. We want a variable. We're going to call it age in this case. I'm going to say equals, and we want them to type in the data. So input, please enter your age. And I'm going to put a colon and a space at the end to make it look nice. Now there's a wee bit of a difference between these two lines of code. In the first line, we wanted the person to type in a piece of text, and by default, the input command will let the user type in text. So if you use input, it's always a piece of text being put into Python. In programming, text is known as a string. But an age is not a piece of text, it's a number. So we don't want this input line to be a string, we want it to be an integer, which is a whole number. So to do that, we need to use the int command. So you type int, and you start a bracket, and you end a bracket at the very end of the line. And what we're essentially doing here is we're putting everything that's inside the brackets there. So that whole input command is inside the int. And that means that whatever's typed in for the input will be turned into an integer. It's been changed. If it helps, you can space it out a wee bit. If it helps you visualize it a bit more, that this command is inside of the int. You don't have to. Oops, I'm going to put mine back. Now the TV show is very similar to our first line. We just want them to type in their favourite TV show, TV programme. Now there are a few rules to naming variables. I can't write TV space and then show, because that would be two separate variables in this instance. So what we need to do is we could either put an underscore, or we could just put it together. So I'm just going to write TV show equals, and it's not a number this time, it's just a normal piece of text, so it's a string. I can just use the input command, input, please enter your favourite TV show. And I'm going to put a colon and a space at the end for formatting. I'm going to test my program before I go any further. I'm going to click run. It's asking me for my name, so I'm going to say John. Age, I'm going to say 14. Favourite TV show is The Simpsons. Get no errors, the program runs fine, that's great. So now we want to display the data back to the user. So we're going to have an output section. I'm going to put a wee comment for outputs, just so I can see the separate parts of my program. Now the command to display a piece of data is print. And then whatever you would like to print or display on your screen, you put inside the brackets there. So the first thing we want to print is the person's name. So we can just type in name. Name was the label that we gave to one of our variables. So you'll see when I highlight it, it actually highlights up there as well. So name is whatever the user types in for this input. So they type it in, it gets stored in this variable, and now I'm printing that variable out. So every time I run that program, I could type in something different and a different name would show up. So we can just test that. So we'll type in John again. It's 14, Simpsons, and it comes out with John. At the end, it's printed out the name. If I run it and I give it a different name, so I say Jane, 14, Simpsons, it comes out with Jane. So it's important you understand that variables can change. It's in their name to vary. So we don't put anything else in here, just the name of the variable. On the next line, we want to say how old they are. So we're going to say print, and we're going to write is. Now, because we always want our program to display the word is, we need to use quotes around it. It's a string that we want to display every time. We don't want that to change. It should always say is. The name might change when you run the program, but this line should always say is. So if I run that again just to test it, I'm going to say John, 14, Simpsons, and you can see it comes out as John is. And then if I run it again, I'll say Jane this time. Jane, 14, Simpsons, and it says Jane is. So it's important you understand the difference. Because we have quotes, it's always going to print that word out, that string. This doesn't have quotes, it's a variable, which means it can change when the program runs. So using that logic, we can fill in the rest of it. So name is, we want to print their age, so I can just say age. We don't put quotes on it because it's a variable. We've got another line. Years old and likes, and that will have quotes around it because we always want it to be the same. It's always going to say that message. And then we can print their TV show at the bottom, and that won't have quotes around it because it's a variable. So no quotes for variables, quotes for strings that you would like to display the same every time. So if I run that, let's have a look. Jane is 14, she likes The Simpsons. Jane is 14 years old and likes Simpsons. That works. You will notice there's no space between the input and the output there. If you want to give it a wee bit more formatting, make it look nice, at the start of your outputs, you could put a blank print. So if you put print with just the brackets and nothing inside, it will just print an empty line. It might make your program look a bit nicer. Try it. Jane is 14 and likes The Simpsons. There we go. Jane is 14 years old and likes The Simpsons. So that's program 1, which is 3 in and 3 out.